recording, which is absolutely ace. That starts to record now. Sean, if you can fix your mic, feel free to get that little fella up and running again. If not, I'm just going to start to run through, and if there's any issues or you've got any questions, please type them into the Q&A, which I can see you have just done. And yes, Caerphilly is still in lockdown, and RCT joined us yesterday. So yeah, it's the surrounding areas are starting to get hit as well, which is a little bit of a nightmare. I'll keep open the Q&A on the other computer, Sean, just so if there's any questions, you can ping them on there for us. So the idea behind it, obviously, Sean, you were involved in a lot of the presentations I was doing originally for COVID, etc. And from that, I found there was three major options, and I'm going to show you how we can overcome them by using OpsPal. After I'd done one of the presentations, I got a call from the head of sports and leisure at Reading University saying, I've created this product. It's, what's your thoughts? I instantly saw it, Sean, and I knew that it was something that was needed. One, because I'd been working as a commercial analyst for about 6 years for Cascade, and I tried to get that organisation to create the same thing. And they had a go and it was okay, but it was nowhere near as good as this. So as soon as I saw this, I knew I had to start showing other people so we could try and get it out there and so people could see just how this will solve a load of their issues. There's a little bit I'm going to do on conflict train. I'll do that very quick, and then I'm going to hand over to Dawn Ann, and she's going to do a little tiny bit on attract, retain and perform in terms of data. So dead easy, let's go. Three massive issues that have arisen. The first one is you've got loads of risk assessments that you never had before. Now, when you start putting risk assessments together, we know putting a risk assessment together is easy. You write on a piece of paper, you say what the problems are, and it's done. Now, there's a little tiny bit more to the management of it, is that when you're writing some of the stuff on the paper, there may be certain things or issues or bits and pieces that you're meant to do before that risk assessment becomes valid. So once we get onto OpsPal, I'll start to show you exactly how it will solve all the issues for that and make sure the management of the risk assessment is just not an issue going forward. There's a high likelihood that you've got new procedures in your business. Can you convince me that every single member of staff has been trained? I keep speaking to people who say, yeah, all our staff have been trained, and they've still got people on furlough. So I'm just baffled as to how, anyway, it doesn't matter. But the idea is there's loads and loads of new procedures coming in. And I want to be able to, I'm going to show you a way that we can definitely manage those as well. The last bit is there's a lot more to do, especially in terms of the COVID bits and pieces and you've got to wipe things down. So how are you logging that? Is it happening on time? Is it happening late? Is it a certain person that's doing it late? Again, we need to start giving the management some of the answers to some of these things. So I'm just going to do a very, very quick poll just to get your views on it really, Sean, just to say, if you were asked the question, what percentage of your staff have signed and fully understood all new and changed risk assessments, what would your answer be? Your answer could be 100%, and you can prove this within 5 minutes. It could be 75%, and you can prove it, or 50%. Okay, perfect. So that gives us a good indication as to the worry. This is one of the worries and one of the reasons why Greg put this particular together. So we've actually got Greg on the call. And obviously, Greg is the person he's the head of sport for Reading University, and he's also built this. So he is an operator, and he built this to fix some of the management issues that he had. So it's good that it's not good that you're only at 50%, but it's good that it proves that there's a hole there and there's something that we need to be able to do. So what is it? OpsPal is a system. It's a smart facility management. It's about digitalising your risk assessments, your procedures, staff manuals, all these various different things. Could you imagine now being able to log into your centre and seeing what tasks are overdue and exactly who should have done them and when? If there's any actions that need to be required to be done. So imagine yesterday I've done a walk round and I've logged something that you need to do to make sure the business can compete. When you log in, what happens is you'll get this little issue or a problem or a task built in, and it will automatically drop onto your system. So we think this bit is absolutely key. It's broke down, the functionality that we have within here. There's loads and loads of functionality. And again, it's all from an operator's perspective, not an IT, which is good. So it has to be easy. It has to be easy to set them up, to track changes, to have a look. So you know what it's like. You will have had 50 bloody risk assessments anyway. And now you will have changed 20 of them and added another 10 in, or whatever it may be. So in a minute, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to track the changes. And then when we retrain people, we only need to train them in the bits they don't know, the new bits, instead of going through the whole process again. So it massively speeds things up. Again, in terms of reminders and making sure whoever owns the risk assessments gets a reminder to make sure all the problems have been followed through or any issues have been followed through. Rather than, has that ever happened to you, Sean, where you get back next year and you go to do your redo and you go, oh God, I haven't done that yet, because there was a task on there that we haven't yet completed. So we've got reminders for the risk assessment, we've got reminders for the problems and issues to make sure we can follow everything through to completion. Now, a picture tells 1,000 words, so it's not just about typing stuff in. The idea behind this is that you can take photographs. If there's an area that's dirty, we can take photographs so we can show people. They can take photographs to prove that it's been cleaned in the way that you wanted it to, etc., etc. We can add videos in, we can add anything else you want in. As I say, I'll go through and show you just how easy it is. So again, one of the actions is I can assign things to people. That comes in one of the later apps, but it's brilliant. Again, this so we can show people when they've read and understood. This is the bit that where you're at 50%, Reading University are at 100. He can look at any stage and go, I know that every single member of staff has agreed and understood this, or at least said they've understood it. Again, whether you want to use your phone for this, if you want to use a tablet, if you want to use your computer, if you want to use someone else's computer, it's fine. It's a password protected. That's all great. But you can use it on any system. So I could walk around in the morning on my phone when I'm dealing with a one-to-one. I might want to use this on my computer, etc., etc. And again, this has been built around managers being able to report. So who hasn't done what they've meant to? Who's completed the highest percentage? Who's not allocating any problems? So I've got 10 members of staff, 9 of them every time they do a job are relating problems, and one person's just ticking stuff off. Again, I can report on all this and it starts to make sense. So what I'm going to do first and foremost is I'm just going to show you, Sean, there's three sort of apps that fall into it. In fact, I'll talk through them first and then I'll give you a quick whistle-stop tour through it. So risk assessment procedures and to-do. Now, we know the issues that you had. So we know that there's loads more risk assessments and we know we've got to make sure everyone understands them. And it's a big worry, especially if it's your job. If you're the COVID coordinator in any of the organisations or in any of the sites, then you're next on the block for this, and it's a little tiny bit worrying. So yeah, we'll go through that. We'll go through the procedures and we'll go through to do. So again, easy to create, easy to track changes. You can see a little bit of a picture on the right there of just how easy it is to look at and whether they're low, high, medium. We've got the traffic light systems built into it as well. A bit like I said, in fact, what I am going to do here is I'm just going to come out of the show just for 1 second, and I'm going to jump onto the website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto the OpsPal website. So you can see here, Sean, this is my overview. I've got one task overdue. It's CC Leisure Solutions is the name of the leisure centre. So I click onto this and you can see I've got one task overdue. This is all the various different bits and pieces I've been doing. So you can imagine sitting down doing a one-to-one with me. You've got a log of everything that I've done. If you want to look at the quality of that, then that's fine. You can click on it and we can go in and we can do that. Now let's go into the first app. So this is risk assessments. You can see here, you can break it down, wet areas. I put this other trampoline in a wet area. That's obviously a quick mistake by me, which I'll fix later. But the idea behind it, if I wanted to set up a risk assessment, it's fine. I can set up another heading where it says, so I'll do one here for dry area. Let's do that, eh? So I've just set up a quick heading for dry area, which is absolutely fine. And I now want to set up a risk assessment. So let's do this for the trampoline. Let's do the assessment date of tomorrow. Let's do the review date of, it's got to be September next year, the same time. I want the assessor to be Leah and I want me to be the person who's in charge of it. We click on the next screen. There's an example of all the different types of hazards to help train your staff. We can build in anything you want here. And ideally what we want to do is start sharing best practice. Whatever organisation has the best version of the stuff that goes in for the examples, that's what we're going to start dropping into the product. So you can see what hazards I'm going to put. In fact, you wouldn't have drowning. Let's put falling off. We could fall off, etc. So you can see there, it's absolutely fine. Who might be harmed? Customers and staff. What are we already doing? We have staff ratios. My writing's gone a bit dodgy here, hasn't it? So you've got staff ratios and pre-trained video. So that's what we're doing currently. Sorry, this little software that I'm using likes to try and correct everything. Let's say that's medium. In fact, let's say it's low. We'll see how that looks. Is there anything else we need to do to manage this risk? So we need feet on trampoline. Just a quick one as an example. And that needs to be actioned by, Jamie's going to do that one for me, and that needs to be done. Let me just move this down because this little thing's in the way. I want that done by the 19th, and we can add that in. So you can see it's done. That's a risk assessment boxed off and done. Absolutely perfect. We can put the next review date in, we can do everything, and then whoever owns it then starts to get the emails and various different things. So that's fine. I'm happy with that. Now, when I log in, you can see now it's just changed. So I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to log in to risk assessments, and it says here that this is unread. So you as a manager will have a guide of, I can distribute this to different people. So I can say, this one is only for the leisure assistants and the gym staff, because reception aren't really going to be doing trampolines. So we can group these things. When the receptionists log in, they won't have this there, but all the people who should have it will have this there. So what happens is they come in, it gives them the information there, and once they've read and understood it, they go through, they click that, and it's absolutely fine. So now what we've got, it's dead easy to set up. Now imagine you've already got 50 risk assessments, and the worry is, Jesus Christ, we've got to set them all up in here. We can import them. We can import them in, or we can simply copy and paste or anything. It's not going to take any time at all. And before you know it, what you've got is every single risk assessment in your business. You know exactly who's read it and if they've understood it, or they've agreed to understand it, which is fine. Any problems or issues that need to be added on, they're now going to be built into a product that's called Product Manager that falls into this. So we know that we have to get the feet for that trampoline and it needs to be actioned. So again, you as an operations manager has all this information for you just at hand. So again, now you can see it's all been read and understood, and that's mine, and that's perfect. I can go back to here again, and we can see that we can read and understand. So again, let's go into this one. I'm going to go into a slightly different one. So with this one, I'm going to track the changes. So you can see anything in green is the new stuff that I've added in. So again, if I was to go into this trampoline and I wanted just to quickly edit it, so I basically go into the edit button. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to put pre-trained. I spelt that wrong on purpose just to prove that we've now got a slight change. I'm now going to come down. I'm going to save the changes, which is absolutely fine. I'm going to tick that in. When I click in here, you'll see that it's now changed that question. It's showing you that there's been that sentence has been changed. So any logs or any change, when the staff say, I'm going to go and check all the risk assessments, you'll know whether they checked them properly or whether they haven't checked them properly. So it just solves every issue in terms of the risk assessment side of things. So again, procedures is a breeze, an absolute breeze. So imagine you have your whole induction in here, and what we need to start doing to write out, let's say for instance, for me to write out how to clean a toilet, it's a long document in order to do that properly. Now for me to video that is fine. I just video, this is the toilet, this is the tools, this is the chemicals I'm going to need, this is the equipment I'm going to need. Now we're going to start at the top, we're going to work around, we're going to wipe it first, then we're going to wipe it down. I just video the whole process, and the video then starts to fall into here. So what I've got here is setting up a trampoline. I haven't done it for a while. I've totally forgot. I've got my phone on me. So I click into here. The video's in there. I click in, and it teaches me exactly how to set up the trampoline. Again, the way that we can do this, in order to set these up, if I just come into the editor, this button, so you set up a trampoline, you put your review date in. I can add other information into here as well. I've got the video in there, but you can see I can add other information, or I can add pictures, I can add tables, I can add sources, I can add YouTube videos, I can add anything. Clear viewed by, so now there's been a slight change. I want everyone to redo it. So when I click on that, yes, what this does, when you log in, it would say there's been an update. Can you have a look at the update? And we've got the procedures there. So again, imagine having every single thing that you want. This might be how do you do your rota because you're doing it for management. It might be this is how you use the program cards in fitness. This is how you They do a pool test. This is how you do the Langelier test. This is anything at all we can simply build in and get it into the system. You know when someone's read it and understood it. You know that they can't pull the wool over your eyes. Oh, no one's ever been through that with me. Well, why did you sign it off then? You know, we've got the agreement, we've got the understanding. In 12 months' time, you'd be asked to go through the reviews, because that's another thing. We don't always do that with everything else. So we can simply see absolutely fine, and then we come on to the piece de resistance, which is basically the to-do list. So we know that we've now got more tasks to do. So let's just say, for instance, I need to set up a task on cleaning the desk. Okay, so cleaning the desk. In here, imagine I had a procedure for that, or I had the video for that, or I had the pictures of that, or whatever. So I'm going to put in here in fact, I'll just put PDF. We'll put a PDF in there, because imagine we've added a PDF. Now, this is a task. It's absolutely fine. I want this to go to the reception team. The owner of this is Jamie. That's fine. Now, I want them to have to confirm to understand it, so I click yes. If there's any problems, I want them to be able to log it, and I want them to be able to add any notes in there. Again, this gives me information, and we can learn from it. How long does this take? Well, you can't do this in under 5 minutes. And this happens, well, it used to be once only, but it now happens multiple times a day, in a week, etc., etc. So it basically happens every single day. And the times it happens are, again, we just start to filter into here. So let's say, for instance, we're going to do 1 o'clock. Let's do 1:20, just to start off. And we can add more times and more different bits and pieces in. So you can see here, I can add more days and more times here. So I'd go in again and I'd click the task. So all we do now is we add that task in, and we're done. We're fine. We're absolutely boxed off. Okay, you can see here now it's added the times in. I can add more in if I needed to. So if I needed that to be 1:30 as well, I'd go to the select all. I'd come into here and say we need to do it at 6 o'clock or 6:20 as well. Add those as well. Perfect. Now they're in there. So you can see it's so easy to get these things set up. And now if I'm meant to be wiping a desk at a certain time, I know whether it's been done or not. So it's just a breeze, yeah. So the idea behind it is dead simple. You'd come into the to-do side of things. You can see in there, I've got this cleaning, I've got this cleaning the desk, didn't spell it correctly, that's fine. We've got the rep, we've got appraisals. So, this is, imagine I need to start this task, because this one's due, it's overdue, in fact. So in here, I come in and it says clean front of house staff. I was messed about when I was doing the last session. But the idea behind it, the comment is staff clean and don't smell. Not that you do this. I'm just trying to explain that it's dead easy to do anything you like. We've added the comment. That's been done. Again, if I want to go into this particular task, imagine there's a problem that's occurred. I write the problem in. This problem then falls into problem manager. So uniform standards need confirming and retraining. Okay, again, I'll spell it correctly, which is fine. The status of this is action required, working on it. So action required, that's fine. Again, is it everyone that needs to do this, or do we want a certain person to do it? And what is the action? So new standards trained in, and again we can do it. So that's the problem manager. It's done. That's going to be, so we've now got one current problem. We can update this task. We can say that it's been completed. We can write in the completion notes and we say task complete. So it's now been done. Perfect. Up here we can see there's one issue. So this is our problem list. We can see that there's an issue in it, and we can manage the whole thing. So I think what you can see from here is you've got this really, really simple product. What this basically does is, the to-dos, again, we're recording the issues, logging everything. It's easy. Now, what we also want in the future is we want to make sure that the customers drive it. This is made by operators for operators, and we want the operators to decide our roadmap. We don't want to be like the other IT companies that know what's, this will make us loads of. This isn't about money. It's not going to be free, but it's about making sure that your business can run as effectively as possible. And so the roadmap, these are things that people have discussed: accident reporting, pool testing, COSH, stock taking, toolbox training, feedback, maintenance log. This should be able to do every single thing that is on paper that your leisure management system doesn't. So it should be coming in from that side. So that's one side of things. Again, does it solve the three issues we have? The risk assessments, yes. The new procedures, yes. And the fact that we should be cleaning things and doing things, yeah, of course it does. Can we use it for the rest of our business, like for the inductions and everything else? Of course we can. It's just to me, it's a no-brainer. As soon as I seen it, I knew I had to get this message out there, and people needed to see the product. So we now move on to the conflict side of things, destructive versus productive. So every single time I mention sort of conflict to people, they automatically look at the destructive side of it and see it as a negative, and it's about. But we all have productive tendencies and destructive tendencies. The key is finding out what yours are. I fall into the I category. My destructive tendencies, because I become overly emotional. I can talk over others. I can become very impulsive and become erratic. And I can sometimes gloss over tension because I want to keep it jovial. And I can make personal attacks. So these are the things I have to try and find and catch myself doing. And then the good things that I do within my nature or my sort of behaviours are I communicate empathy, I encourage open dialogue, I provide reassurance, I verbalise emotions and make sure people are feeling okay. So you can see I've got these two sides. The key behind it is does every one of your staff understand, or do your managers understand what their strength, their destructive tendencies are and what their productive ones are? Again, when conflict happens, when something happens, we have that knee-jerk reaction, that the automatic thought. Someone comes in and says something, you go, what do you mean? And it's that automatic thing that we need to learn and we need to try to catch. What we need to try and do is we need to try and manage that process. So there's 18 reasons or 18 things that cause disruption. Now, obviously, when I teach the course, I go through these in a hell of a lot more detail. But there's simple arguing. How do they deal with arguing? How do they deal if someone's being belittled? How's that going to make people feel? How can we prevent that? How do they even realize they're doing it? If you're a manager who caves in and just agrees with things, there's nothing worse than I'm on reception doing my job and a customer comes in and we're following the procedures and the customer doesn't like the procedures. So the manager comes out and goes, oh no, it's okay. You just go, we'll sort it out. And the staff are standing there going, what? People who create drama, people who dismiss opinions and don't listen, defensiveness, managers who dismiss opinions. This absolutely creases me. They'll find out that everyone around them becomes very quiet. If people have stopped telling you stuff, it's probably because you don't listen. People who exaggerate, people who exclude people who finger point. So again, we now drop into gossiping, hypercriticism, overpowering, passive aggressive, revenge, sabotage, sarcasm. You can see withdrawing, stonewalling. All these things, are your staff prepared and are they ready to be able to deal with these? From what I see in a lot of organizations, no, they've never had the training. They've been given a piece of paper and told this is how you deal with a complaint. But do they know how to deal with the person? Because that's the most important. That's who's got the complaint. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a person, not with a complaint. So we need to understand them and we need to be able to make sure we can act in a way that suits them and not a way that suits us. So again, the questions I sort of ask before people come onto it, when they're doing these types of things is, are you aware of your destructive responses? If so, how many do you have? We don't like admitting that, but every time I do this course, people say, I don't have those. And everyone else in the room goes, maybe you do. And it's like, so again, are you aware of just how many of your bad points you have and how many of them, what you're doing, or what's your intention and how do you fix them? Now, you're managing staff. Are you aware of other people's destructive tendencies? Okay, so what behaviour are you going to do? So imagine you have a go with a member of staff, he sees his bum and he goes off and sulks. The next time you have a go with a member of staff, he sees his bum and he goes off and sulks. That's not a very destructive plan. What you've done is you've made him withdraw. So what are you going to do to stop him from withdrawing? And what's your plan and how are you going to deal with this? So once we start breaking down these activities and these 18 reasons why they cause conflict, it then becomes quite easy for us to start to get this information across and to start dealing with it. Right, so that's that side of things. What I'm going to do now, Sean, is I'm quickly going to pass over to the Damster. So Dawn Ann, are you still there, mate? I'm hoping you are.
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Shan. Good to have you here. I hope you're well and you're managing fine over at Wales National Pool at the moment.
No, I think this is Caerphilly, Sean.
No, Shan had to drop out, sort of thing. So
is this the other Sean?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm very, very confused because I've just, yes, but we've had two Sean Joneses on,
oh,
which is
there's Shan
amazing.
Jones just coming back in as well there just now. So
Okay, perfect. So what I want to do, Dawn Ann, is I want to make you presenter. Is that
great.
okay, or do you want me to do it on mine?
No, pop it over so that I can get the access to do it. Yeah, that's
There
absolutely.
we go. There's Dawn Ann. There's Dawn Ann. She's gonna put that onto there. Let's have a little look.
Let me get that sorted.
I've lost with you. Bear with. I am bearing with. We are absolutely and utterly bearing with you. All this is being videoed, Sean, as well, so we can send you a copy. In fact, as soon as this presentation finishes, 10 minutes after, you'll be sent a copy of the link. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to hand over to Dawn Ann. The hardest bit for me is being quiet, so I'm going to leave you with Dawn Ann.
Hi. You know what it's like, Shani. You know, our Craig likes to talk and things like that. So a few slides to talk about as such. As you know, I've done some work with you already, and you know, data's my first love, and I've got a kind of background of nearly 20 years experience helping leisure operators turn their data into operational action. And one of the things that I was keen to just to have a chat about was that I know the term's been overused when we talk about this new normal and unprecedented times, but I think there are some clear facts. There's definitely a new landscape for leisure operators at the moment, and what that's actually meant is that there's new ways of working. But I think that having spoken with some operators again in Wales, throughout the UK, Scotland's only just opening, but some of the underlying challenges that operators face are actually still the same. So when I'm talking about the challenges, what I'm actually meaning is that one of the things is all about, right, how do I attract more members? Now, the thing is, usually for any operator, it's about how do I get new people in through the door, new prospects. But what I'm actually finding is that operators at the moment are actually even just needing to try and target their existing members to get them to come back in, because although operators are reporting like their class numbers are looking great, pool's not too bad, what they're finding is that the gyms are still quiet. So the attract side of things, yep, you could be targeting, you could be revisiting who you target first, and I think maybe looking at your existing members, and then more so your ex-members, all the members who cancelled during lockdown, they were a member with you before. Let's look at to try and get them back in. So that is one of the challenges. Another one, the common one that everyone talks about is retention. How can I retain these people for longer? And I think now more than ever for operators, it's about, if you don't have a customer journey at the moment, or you don't really adhere to it as well as you should, then actually you really need to look at it. I think because customers' expectations are much higher than what they've ever been before. But what I have found is that I've been watching some operators and how they've actually managed welcoming their customers back. And what was interesting was that the clear, informed communications that they had with their members in the run up to opening, as well as during reopening, is actually set the precedence of setting the expectations for the customers. The customers knew what the building was going to look like, with areas taped off and the spacing stickers and these sorts of things. So again, it just highlights that need for good communication. And then there is another challenge, I think, is about operators are always looking at how can I perform better. Now, I've seen some operators already focusing on their additional spend, which can be a quick win. And what they're actually doing there is, instead of having the swimming lesson pack or the sports pack for the gym, they're actually creating COVID-19 packs where they've got their own wipes, they've got branded sanitizer, and they're, to save the customer having to bring all these things to the gym. There's a convenience factor there that seems to be quite popular. But the thing with Perform Better at the moment, and more so just now, we're experiencing it in Scotland, I've seen what's happening in Wales, is that to try and get more visits just now, it's in the present restrictions and obviously the capacity limits as well for indoor. At the moment, that is going to be definitely more tricky, but hopefully as we navigate and negotiate our way out of these restrictions, and hopefully once the science and the cases start to settle, that maybe we can start to focus on that. So one of the things what I was just want to talk to you about today is ultimately, all the data that you're recording at the moment is just so important. Now, the thing is, you might have data, obviously, you've got a leisure management system, but you may have an element of manual records as well. But, again, where possible, if you can get anything that's manual to digital, it will be easier to report on and act upon. But there's two areas where myself at Data Pepper can help. Is we are offering customers a free communications audit, which I think is just so important right now. Get your communications right, and you engage your customer and you set their expectations. And what we are also offering is a full data audit. Now, let me tell you a bit more about the communications audit. Essentially, it's just a way of where I can conduct like a telephone call or a web call as such, and I can go through a list of auditing your existing communications and identifying missing ones, where I compare it to a list of like 50 plus suggested communications you could be having with your members. The aspect here is just understanding what communications you're sending out and when, so can actually categorize them so that you understand what the purpose of it is, who's responsible for it, and actually how often should we be doing it. And what we can then do is take all that information and put it into a 12-month communication plan. So you can start to see, well, I run prospecting and recruitment campaigns here, or I do retention campaigns here, and you just have that visibility on a 12-month calendar. But the other aspect of where we can take that free audit much further is when we start to look at a more of a full data audit. And this is where I can start to delve into the data that you're actually holding at the moment, so that what we can actually drop out is know exactly how many members you've got, know the opportunities for revenue generation in the data, and actually start to hook on some financial metrics of the effect if we get a 7%, 4% take up rate of our casuals onto a membership. What does that actually mean in money terms, and what is actually the lifetime value of your members just now? Do they stay 6 months? Do they stay 9 months? And if we start to hook the numbers on that, we can really start to get an idea of, right, what should we do first, because what's going to create the quick win for us. And yet again, we can put that into a 12-month communications plan, but what we've also got is the metrics of the value of taking those actions at certain times. So from that, just to kind of sum up, one of the things that your data is so important. The data you're recording right now, who's coming in, who isn't, why they're not coming in, what are they coming in and doing. It's all about so that we can help you with your communications, understand what messages you're going to send and why. It's really important that you identify the right target audience for your messages, because if not, it's like the blanket marketing, the brown envelope. It says to the occupier that comes through the door and then goes straight to the bin, because there's no value in it. It's not relevant. It's not targeted. The other thing is actually just putting a plan together of when you're going to send messages, so that you're sending them at the best time in order to maximize the engagement and the response from the people you're sending to. And I think more so is there is really, don't just send a message for the sake of it. The minute you disengage a member as such, it's so hard, because they can just unsubscribe and you've lost them as such. So getting targeted messages to the right people, and then actually that added value of being able to quantify, what does that mean to me in terms of an organization? Because see, right now, your data actually, even although it's tough times, there's still opportunities in your data to generate revenue, to work more efficiently. So one of the things here is myself at Data Pepper, we can help. All right, and I'll hand it back over to Craig.
Okay, I won't be 1 second. I'm just creating a little poll. I just want to find out what percentage do we think in terms of data that we're using, just to try and get a little flavour of it. Again, if I go 50, I'll just do three options on this one.
That's great, Jeff. Hi there. I see that you've connected as well, and Shan, you've been able to get back on.
let me just. So, what percentage of your data do you think that you're currently using in terms, things like birthday parties? Is it, casuals, upgrading casuals, ex-member campaigns, big ex-member campaigns? You do one every month, and you'd have this big joint thing. So again, it's quite low. Okay, that's fine. That's absolutely perfect. So, Jeff, I can see that you've come in late, which is absolutely fine. If you want me to do a session with you straight after this, Jeff, where I'll just talk you through what we've done, because I can see you've missed some of it. I have videoed it, but I'm happy to go through this with you if you want. Are there any questions from you lot?
I'll make sure the guys can talk, allow everybody to talk. So feel free just to unmute everyone. If you want to jump in and ask Craig a question, or myself at all, or
Sean Jones, you may need to go to the Q&A again, mate. For some reason, your mic's saying error in mic, whereas...
Okay.
Okay, so I think that's Sean.
Yeah, just seeing if it's working, is it?
It is indeed. It is indeed.
Yeah. So no question. Obviously, it's that first week open, so it's just it's been a bit mad and crazy. So
Sean, were you on in time to see the OpsPal stuff?
No, I missed that.
Okay. You'll get a video in probably 10 minutes after the session's finished with the information in it, because I've just videoed this bit. So you'll get if you want me to go through it with you, just call me and I can talk you through it, because obviously I don't want you to miss it.
Yeah,
Sean Jones was obviously in it that bit, and she's basically put in the Q&A, she's put a little thing in there, putting looks great, and if I'm being honest, it really will solve problems. I can't explain to you enough just how much this is an operator's product. And I've worked in IT for a while, and my biggest frustration was it was made by IT people for operators, and they used to do it in the wrong way. But this is a product that's been specifically built for operators to operate and to run businesses. Jeff, you've come in very, very late, mate. Do you want me to do another session for you, Jeff?
Yeah, Sean works with me, Craig, so that's great.
Okay.
But I picked up an email about giving you a call later, probably sometime next week. So is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely fine, mate. I'll send you. In fact, what I'll do, mate, I'll drop a little link into here for you. And what this does, it gives you access to my diary.
Yeah, I had that this morning, Craig.
Oh, okay, mate, perfect. Yeah.
So I'll pick that up for early next week, if that's okay.
Yeah. Just go in there. If I'm available, it'll tell you, and if I'm not, I'm not. So you can go through, pick any day within about the next 6 weeks. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. And then I'd say if there's any questions or anything, just come back to us. We did this presentation last week, and we've got probably 50% of the people that did it last week. We've got they want more information on it. They want to know exactly how they'll get it in and what it looks like and what it's going to feel like. So. By all means, yeah. Have a chat with Sean.
Yeah.
Have a look at the video, which will give you the overview of what I've discussed. And then if there's anything else that you want, then by all means come to us, and we can go from there. But
yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
The three things we covered is OpsPal, which is gonna solve. It's a tool that gets rid of the health and safety headaches, but helps you to massively operate and have an eye on your business. You'll be able to know exactly what's happening and what's not happening, and to what standard, which is, it was the missing link when I was running centres, because everything was on paper and you had to do we used to call it management by walking about. So it solves that problem for you. It solves the induction problem that we're not training people efficiently enough, and they don't know how to do stuff effectively. I've done a lot of work with organisations on inductions, and normally an induction is how not to sue the organisation, not how to train the member of staff. So this massively switches that round into the staff's favour. And it's also got this thing in called TODO, which is just phenomenal. So could you imagine, Jeff, you walk into the building and the banner's flapping. You'd write, "Banner's flapping, can I allocate that to Sean, please?" When Sean logs on, she has a note saying, "Can you do the banner, please?"
Yeah, no, that's great. And
when you've done it, take a quick photograph. So when you get the completed update, you can see that it's been done and not just believe it's been done.
Yeah, so
it's gonna change things massively. I know there's a few products out there that compete with us for maybe for risk assessments, but then it doesn't do procedures, and it hasn't got the future roadmap that this particular product going to have. So thank you very much all for coming on. Once you've had the video and you've had a look, if there's any more questions or anything else you want to talk about, or you'd like to know a bit more about the audits from Dawn, there is a free audit in there that she's willing to do for you. Well, there's nothing to lose in that. You're looking at 40 minutes. She'll go through, ask you a few questions. She'll prioritise a few quick wins for you, and you can crack on. Or you could do a full audit and know exactly what's going on in the business and take out the guesswork. In terms of the conflict, you know, I'm not suggesting you do this for an organisation because it would be dear, but I am, you know, your COVID officers or your senior managers definitely need to know how to manage conflict during times like this. At the minute, it's still nice, but if you look at what happened in the supermarkets, it starts to deteriorate because people start getting fed up. I can't get on my piece of kit. I'm trying to book in. I can't get in the class, etc., etc. So, yeah, have a look at the video. Give us a call. Any issues, I'm happy to help. But, yeah, as I say, Jeff, you've got the link there. Just send me over a time when you want to have a chat, and I'm more than happy to go through it with you, mate.
Brilliant. Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks to Sean's. And, yeah, I will speak to you all soon. Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.